It's a new era for WWE NXT as it is now 2.0, but will it hold up and will it match up with the previous product? Let's find out. Let's get a counter on the screen. This is 3 minutes of WWE NXT 2.0. LA Knight is backstage talking his usual shit and he gets approached by a big meaty hoss called Bronbreaker. You might recognise this kid because he's the son of an absolute legend in his own right, Rick Steiner. He goes out there, has a great match, and he fucking beats LA Knight. Originally I thought, man, I'm not keen on that. However, he is a son of the Steiner, so he's got a bit of pedigree, and also he looks legit. LA Knight loses, but will he be successful in the title match later? Let's find out.
Dummy, yeah.
B-Fab from Hit Row gets her wrestling debut against the Masked Jobber and she summarily dispatches her before Legado del Fantasma come out to spit bars. Legado versus Hit Row. War Games?
There it is! War Games!
Carmelo Hayes comes out for mic time. He's joined by his new friend Trick. Who's Trick? No idea. As they're walking away, Duke Hudson comes out and spits a few bars, and for his troubles, he gets jumped 2-on-1 by the Faces. Okay.
This whole place is a giant mind.
Gigi Dolin and JC Jane get a rematch against Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. It's all going very nicely until they get jumped by the brand new brunette Mandy Rose, gotta say. Oh, damn.
Oh, you drive me wild.
This then turns into a 6 women's tag team match as Saray comes down to make the save, but the heels pick up the win. Mandy Rose looks great as their manager / leader, and of course Gigi Dolin and JC get that win that they so desperately need. During that match, Kyle O'Reilly gets jumped by some random guy who looks like the apprentice to Volta, and this guy, Von Wagner, is inserted into the main event instead of Kyle O'Reilly. No idea why, but the one thing I do know is this guy is apparently the son of the head trainer.
Coincidence? I think not!
The Creed brothers murder an absolute pair of jobbers that nobody cares about, but they look great doing it, and I'm really enjoying these smash and grab matches. Then, Malcolm Bivens shows off the newest asset for the Diamond Mine, which of course is Ivy Nile, who looks so pen. Kushida then comes down and says, yo, Roderick Strong, you want some? Come get some. Apparently next week that'll happen for the NXT Cruiserweight Championship, which means we're guaranteed at least one great wrestling match already for next week. It wasn't technically the main event, but it was in terms of wrestling the Fatal 4-Way to decide the new NXT Champion. Pete Dunne, Tommaso Ciampa, LA Knight, and Von Wagner.
One of these things is not like the others.
To the kid's credit, he actually looked very capable, he looked very competent, but he doesn't have much of a character yet, we don't know who he is, and throwing him in there is not going to help the nepotism of this brand being a bit shit and too many big guys and not enough actual wrestlers. But would he win the title and piss off everybody? No, thank God. Tommaso Ciampa is your new WWE NXT Champion. Yes, indeed. Goldie's coming home to daddy. This is the perfect choice. I was rooting for Pete Dunne, obviously being English, but it wasn't to be. But Tommaso Ciampa picking up the belt is fantastic, and there was a really cool nod at the end of this show just to kind of line up the fact that he's the original gatekeeper and there are new people gunning for his position. And in your main event, there was a wedding. A wedding that went off without a hitch, which is really alarming. Finally, the wrestling wedding trope that has been completely shattered by Index, who happily get married after some rather hilarious shenanigans. There are 2 highlights here. One is Johnny Gargano, who is balls to the wall hilarious throughout, and then the other is Dexter Lumis at everything he does. Dexter Lumis showing off a knife, a hatchet of sorts, in his jacket when the priest suggests that somebody might interrupt or may have something to say about it, and he's like, yo, you fucking disagree? And I'll cut you. So fucking funny. And then he chokes out the priest for having the nerve to interrupt the nuptials. And then, of course, Beth Phoenix takes charge and they happily get married. And Dexter Lumis utters his first ever words as he says, I do. Normally, I would hate a segment like this, but I love the Impact wedding. I love this wedding. I love weddings in wrestling. They always seem to be really hilarious, if not a little bit stupid, but that was the idea. It was very tongue-in-cheek. It was very amusing, and a real palate cleanser for what NXT normally is, which is a very serious tone of wrestling. And sometimes it's nice to have, like I say, that palate cleanser that just kind of cuts away from the humour. And there was this lovely little segment right at the end, which you might have missed if you just tuned out, where Tommaso Ciampa's watching the wedding. No idea what he's really thinking, but he is holding his title. And Bronbreaker comes up to him, the guy who started the show and the guy who finished the show, at least in wrestling terms, and they kind of look at each other and there's a begrudging handshake, and it's a very cool nod to the old guard of NXT and the newcomer who may possibly be the future of what this brand is later down the line, because if I know Tommaso Ciampa, he's probably going to pass that torch, and then he might just move on from NXT and WWE entirely, because I know he's not big on the main roster. Gotta say though, overall, other than a couple of hiccups, this was an excellent show. Frantic pace, sometimes I like that, sometimes I didn't. Maybe just let a few things breathe a little bit more. But all the haters saying NXT is dead, unbelievable bullshit hyperbole. It's not dead. This is a different brand. Love the look, love the setup, love the colour, love the new music. At the end of the day, the heavy metal dark days of wrestling, those are long gone, and in 2021 you got to be able to move with the times. It's really funny, we all bang on at certain people about being dinosaurs and not moving with the times when it comes to wrestling. NXT decide to go in that way, and of course they're shit on for doing what everybody expects us to do, which is stick with the times. So you can't win them all, but I thought overall it was an excellent show, and it was definitely worth watching. The aesthetics obviously need a little bit of fine tuning, but overall I really like the direction of the product. Just don't forget that there are still some amazing wrestlers from that past era, that past brand, including Kyle O'Reilly, who probably deserves a little bit more love. Hopefully the reason he wasn't in the title match is because of an injury and not because they're just cunts. I've been Aaron X, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.